what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hi, I'm Kristen Jimitrovich, and I volunteer for the North Carolina Bluebirds Society. Our goal is to educate and make awareness of bluebirds in North Carolina. Today, I'm going to read What Bluebirds Do by Pamela Kirby. This is a story of a pair of eastern bluebirds that built a nest in my backyard. They laid eggs, hatched the eggs, and raised their chicks. The male bluebird, Dad, is bright blue on his head, back, wings, and tail, with a rusty chest and white underbelly. The female bluebird, Mom, has a pale blue head and back, with lighter blue wings and tail and lighter rusty chest. Her dull colors help her and the chicks blend with the trees and bushes where they hide from predators. There are other bluebirds. They look different from the bluebird. One bird is called the indigo bunting. It has a mixture of blues all over with black on its wings. It has a gray beak. Another bluebird is called a blue jay. It is bigger than the bluebird, and it has a pointed crest on its head, like a cap, and a different pattern on its body. In the springtime, the bluebirds met. The male wanted the female to be his mate. He would wave his wings as he sang to her. The bluebird held a worm in his beak and sang at the same time. The male often gave food to the female as a gift. The bluebirds mated, and then they needed to find a place to build a nest. Bluebirds are cavity nesters. They build their nests in closed-in spaces such as knotholes, open pipes, or holes carved out by woodpeckers or other birds. The male showed the female many nesting places, including the nest box in my backyard. Notice that he spreads his tail feathers to support his body at the hole. The female chose my nest box built just for bluebirds. Bluebirds usually take 10 or 11 days to build the nest. It's made of loose grasses, pine needles, and twigs. The female laid 5 blue eggs, usually 1 egg each morning over 5 days. She sat on the eggs to keep them warm, taking time out only to stretch or hunt for food. Often the male would bring food to her. The eggs hatched after 11 days. Now there were 5 baby bluebirds to care for. The female was young. She behaved as if this was her first family. She had trouble staying on the nest. She would catch food and hold it in her beak while the male fed the babies. She fed the babies half as much as the male did. He showed her what to do, and then she fed the babies also. The babies grew big, strong, and healthy. When they hatched, they were covered in gray down, small fuzzy feathers that kept them warm. After 12 days, the down was replaced by bigger feathers. Now they had spotted chests and heads with blue wings and tails. There was little room in the nest to stretch their wings. They did not have to be taught to fly. They just knew how by instinct. The baby bluebirds ate mostly insects, worms, and berries. I put out extra food such as mealworms and crickets. Feeding the chicks kept the parents busy. First, the male gave a worm or insect to the female, and she fed the babies. As the chicks grew and wanted more food, Both parents fed the chicks. The parents ate only after the chicks were quiet. The parents kept the nest clean. The chicks' droppings came in tiny bags called fecal sacks. The parents dropped each one far from the nest. When the babies were 15 days old, they wanted food more often. They took turns sitting in the nest box hole, watching the world outside. Can you spot the wasp the chick is watching? The chicks came more restless and called to their parents. See the feathers fluffed in his neck? He can call without even opening his beak. The parents sat in the trees nearby. They began to lure the chicks from the box by bringing them less food. The chicks sat in the hole and called for something to eat. Sometimes they called with their beaks closed. Sometimes they just begged with their beaks open. Finally, the chicks left the nest. One by one, they stood at the edge of the hole and with a burst of speed, jumped out of the nest. They flew to a nearby tree. A chick's first flight from the nest is called fledging. Once that happens, the baby bird is called a fledgling. The difference between the two words is the second L in fledgling. The fledglings called to their parents. The parents called back. They were trying to get all the young ones to the same tree. The fledglings flew in different directions at first. Finally, they flew into the same tree. They followed the parents into the woods. There, they would learn to take care of themselves. The first week, the fledglings stayed in one area and the parents brought food to them. The second week, the fledglings followed their parents around and the parents fed them. The third week, the young birds began to search for food in the trees, staying near the parents. The fourth week, the fledglings began to fly down to the ground and catch bugs or worms for food. The fifth week, the young ones could fly well and feed themselves. They were pretty much on their own. They still stayed close together near their parents. New feathers kept growing. By fall, the young birds had rusty-colored chests and blue heads to match their beautiful blue wings and tails. They had become little bluebirds. The end. Thank you for watching us. Join us next time at Storytime Station.